One of the reasons that the wing tee has stood the test of time in terms of offensive football is its unique if-then play calling structure. So in order to have this, you've got to have a base play. And at least around us, the base play for most wing tee offenses is the buck sweep. So you have the buck sweep, and then when the defense stops it, based on how they stop it, you have a counter. So if the backside linebacker makes the tackle, I'm not an expert, but I think that's when you run trap or you run counter. If the safeties are getting involved in the run fit, then that's when you want to run waggle. And if the backside linebacker is not making the tackle and the safety's not getting involved in the run fit, then you go back to buck sweep. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about an if-then play calling structure in the wide zone Shanahan McVay West Coast offense. So what we have here is a more modern version of the offset weak eye formation. We're in the pistol. We see a lot of 3-4. Sometimes it's tight front, sometimes it's head up. But then when we get into 21 personnel, we get a lot of shifting into an under front. So that's what we've got here against this 21 personnel weak eye formation. So like I said in the intro, our base play is going to be wide zone here. So we're going to run wide zone, and the great Alex Gibbs said you're going to run it weak until they can stop it. So if we're going to run 19 weak here, we've got a solo block on the 3 and the 5 with the play side tackle and guard. The fullback is going to insert to the play side linebacker. That would be the jack. Then we're going to have an A combo to the backside linebacker, the Mike. Then we are 2 for 2 on the backside. From the pistol, the quarterback's just going to turn, reach out, hand it off, and give his boot fake. Running back is running, probably going to get cut off, and running it in between the linebackers, trying to split the safety. So remember, we are going to be running this until they can stop it. One of the first things that happens to stop wide zone is you start getting an overflow of the defenders. The linebackers start to see the linemen taking off on their zone angles, and they try and scrape over before the combos can get to them. So remember, we had the A combo on the nose back to the Mike. So the Mike is going to try and get over the top and in that gap across the center space before the center can cut him off. So if the defense is overflowing, then you want to run inside zone or tight zone versus wide zone. So here we're going to run inside zone, and we're going to run 15 man. So we're still going to be solo on the 3, and what man does is it's going to put the fullback on the backside linebacker, meaning we're going to have an A combo to the play side linebacker, and we're still 2 for 2 on the backside. Quarterback's going to have the same action. We want to make everything look like wide zone so we get the same response. So the quarterback's still turning like that. Running back is still taking his step, but now he's going to cut on his third step and roll and get downhill. But what's going to happen is these linebackers are going to see that first zone step, and they're going to get on their horse trying to cut off this run. But what's going to happen is now when they overflow, the ball is going to cut back behind them where they were and not where they actually are. So they're going to have overflowed. Now the running back's going to cut it back, and there's going to be nobody there to tackle him. Now, if you're enjoying the video so far, give it a like to tell YouTube that you think other football coaches need to be watching this video too, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We hit 100 subscribers last week, our first 100, and I'm so thankful for you that have subscribed. It's crazy to me that in less than 2 months, we've already got 100 subscribers. Let's keep it rolling right here. We're going to see what happens when the defense over-adjusts pre-snap to the wide zone. So if the linebackers are over-adjusting post-snap, that's when you want to run inside zone. But here we can see that the strong safety has rolled down, and we've gone from a 5-2 to a 5-3. So this is a pre-snap adjustment to the wide zone. If we were to be running the same things, we would have an unblocked defender in the box, and that's not a winning business model. So what we can do here is now we can take this over-adjustment pre-snap and we can run counter. So again, we want to make everything look like wide zone as much as we can. Now with counter, we're going to get the backside guard pulling, so it's not going to look 100% the same, but almost everything is going to look the same. We're going to run counter in the opposite direction of our zone plays, so most of our line is actually going to be blocking in the direction that they would be for the previous zone plays. So we're going to get a triple on the 5 to the Mike. We're down blocking with the center and the guard, and you can hinge, or you might want to just go ahead and attack that Will back there. We're not going to block the jack here. We'll come back to him in a second. But we're going to run F counter, so the F is going to step up and look like he's leading just like he did on weak and just like he did on man. He's going to follow that guard and wrap up in there to the strong safety. So to continue to make this look as much like those two zone plays as possible, we're going to reverse out with the quarterback. So he's still opening in the direction that he would have if it were a run. We're also going to take a stab step with the running back. So he's going to step just like he did on wide zone and inside zone, and then he's going to come back and take the handoff from the quarterback underneath and follow that fullback up into the hole. So from all this motion, and this being the third level of the play calling, if you want to consider it that, again, I'm not super worried about the jack right here. Even if he makes the right read, he's probably getting caught in the wash, probably going to get caught in the trash, and the run's going to be bouncing outside of him anyway. But if he does become a problem, there is a fourth level to this series, and that is adding some Z sweep motion. So if the jack's becoming a problem, we can bring the Z on some sweep motion. He has to respect that the Z is going to get the ball. Otherwise, we're actually going to give it to him, and that would be the fifth level of the play calling series. Then maybe the jack's not the one to get it, and they end up bringing the safety down and rolling the corner to the middle of the field, and that opens up a whole other host of options. Now, just like the Buck series with the wing T, if you want to have an if-then structure, you have to have a system. You can't just have a bunch of plays in a playbook that don't go together. The plays have to marry one another. So like we saw in this video here, you can give the same look to the defense and get the same response and play off of it. Again, just like the Buck series and the series of plays we talked about in this video. If you need a system, check out my CoachTube course on the Shanahan McVay offense and adapting it for high school. I have the first 3 courses out right now. The first one's going to cover all the formations, the variations, the personnel groupings. It's an hour long. The second one, also an hour long, talks about pass protection versus all the common fronts that we see at the high school level. We're talking 3-4 tight front. We're talking over, under, 4-4, 4-2, and 3-3 stack. Then the third course is wide zone, all the variations against all those same fronts, and it's 2 hours long. So 4 hours already out, and then once this football season's over, planning on continuing to add to it, talking inside zone, gap schemes, drop backs, quick games, play action passes, screens, all of that will be added, and you can find what I already have out at a link down in the description below. Be sure to check it out. And if you want to see the if-then play calling structure in action in the NFL, be sure to click on the screen and watch this next video.